Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of EKU Hoops Hub. Today we have on Michael Moreno. How are you doing?
Doing really well, Cass. How you doing?
Good. I was just gonna dive into some topics. Obviously you played at Scott County, made it to three straight state championships. Am I correct on that?
Two state championships in a
Two
row.
state championships in a
Yeah,
row.
three
Uh,
state in a row.
and was runner up for Mr. Basketball. So, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Cass.
So I was going to dive into some topics that I had. One of them was I wanted to hear your opinion. Obviously, it wasn't the best of years, but I just wanted to hear your opinion on last year and just I had a couple topics about last year, but I just wanted to hear your opinion so you can kind of openly.
Okay. So last year I feel like we had a really talented team. I loved every one of my teammates. They were all great. We had a really good time together. I feel like we got along really well. I think a lot of it was just we got unlucky with injuries.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to bring that up.
I think we had a lot of problems just staying healthy. And, we had guys that were willing to work and willing to work together. But, the later we got into the season, the less bodies we had, the less healthy we could be. So we were kind of just playing with what we had. And, we fought an
Yeah.
uphill battle. I'm proud of the guys that were able to, stay healthy. I'm proud of the guys that weren't healthy because, they were able to stick around and
Yeah.
really supportive and everything. But I'm glad that we, persevered and finished the season and even, ended up making it to the ASUN tournament. So that was huge for us.
Yeah, something I was gonna bring up though was injury bug because I knew that obviously hit us as you were saying, like about I knew Braxton tore ligaments foot, which I was gonna talk about. Like the thing was, as A-Dub said, at least he went for a layup and tore a ligament in his foot with no one around him.
Yeah,
Like
it was really, really
that
simple.
was
I think just over time, he's been playing basketball for so long. His body's taken a lot of wear and tear. So I feel
yeah.
like it was something that just resulted as overuse just later on in his life because you gotta lock that boy out of the gym, man. He
Yeah.
loves to work, he loves to play. So just working so long.
Well, that was also kind of the same thing that happened to Jansen's knees is over time. And I even asked him, I was like, was that an injury? Was there over time? Whenever he said over time, it's just I've played so much that kind of teared up. So
Right.
so yeah, that I think that was also a thing that obviously caused us to not play as good as we obviously had the talent. I just think that kind of hit us number one was that was kind of our biggest thing that didn't help us that much. So
I agree with you.
um so next I was going to talk about obviously we've had a lot of new guys come in and some guys go out. So I was just going to talk about how do you think the new guys will impact your team?
I mean, would you want me to go down the list? You just want me
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
so we'll start with the freshmen. So we've got Turner Buttrey. Turner Buttrey's a Kentucky kid. I think he's going to be really, really good because he's a tough kid. He knows how to play basketball the right way. He's a coach's kid. He loves to work. He loves to be in the gym, and he loves to play. He shoots it so well, and he's tough enough that he's going to carve out a really good role in our program. And then you look at our other two freshmen coming in guards, Tayshawn Comer and Leland Walker, and they're both tremendous guards. I think everybody's going to have a lot of fun. I think people are going to find new favorite players this year with those two. They're tremendous talents. They're very fun to watch, very fun. I've watched them since they were very young, and they've grew a lot, not just in height, but in their game. They've become tremendous players individually, and we're very lucky to be able to get them together. And then we have a fourth freshman, David Onanabo. He is going to be really, really good for us because coach has been really good about getting bigs in here and really kind of helping them adapt to his style. So I think he's the perfect fit for our style. And then you look at our transfers. We'll start with Darden Kapiti, the transfer from FAU. He's a 6'10", long, high motor guy. He's going to be really good for us because we lost Tariq, and so he can kind of fill that void of size, and he plays extremely hard. And he's from a country called Kosovo in Europe. So you do your homework and you you learn where that's at. But he's tremendous. He was on the Kosovo U20 national team.
Yeah.
Played in the FIBA Europe Cup, and he's tremendous. Then we've got John Ukamadu, who's about 6'7", 6'8", athletic from Detroit. He was in a JUCO league where he won Defensive Player of the Year in his conference, averaging 2 blocks a game. So he's going to be tremendous for us at the top of the press. And he's just a tough kid. He's going to get things done for us. He's really going to help us athletically, and he's really going to grow here because we've got guys that can push him to newer heights like myself. We've got, let's see, who am I missing here? Taylon Martin from Springfield, Massachusetts. He's a JUCO guy. He's extremely athletic.
He was a 4-star at one point, right?
He was once a 4-star recruit. Tremendous kid, tremendous talent. I think everybody's really going to like watching him play. I'll be interested to see how he adapts in our system too, because he fits it perfect. And then we've got Isaiah Cozart. He's a local guy from Madison Central. I used to play against him a lot, in high school. I love him to death. He's great. He's going to fit our program really well in the back of the press because he's an exceptional shot blocker and he's athletic. He's about 6'8", 250 pounds. So he'll be able to really get to it in there. And then who else? Am I forgetting anybody else?
I don't think so.
Because that was 6 guys, right? We got another.
Yeah.
We got another one. I'll think of it in a second. But that was 7 guys. I think that's all we've got right now. And then returners obviously got Wardy, myself, Cooper, Devontae, and then Deshaun Jackson. So.
Yeah. I was also gonna ask you about obviously at the end of the season, and at that point I didn't know, but about Cooper, like how is he doing injury wise? Because obviously
really well. Yep, he's 12 weeks out as of this past Wednesday, so that's 3 months, and he's been cleared to start form shooting close to the basket. The doctor's going to allow him to do that, so he's progressing really well. He's getting stronger, and he's going to make a full recovery and be ready to go for this fall. So I think we're really excited about that.
Also, something I was also thinking about was something that I think will be big this year. Obviously, this year we have a younger team now than we did last year. Obviously, we had a lot of older guys, but this year I think obviously like the older guys with more experience, like you, Cooper, just guys that have been around that system, like just leading the younger guys because they've not really been they've maybe played like that, but just adapting to different gyms and different competition level.
Oh, exactly. I think in my postseason meeting with Coach Hamilton, he said one of my biggest jobs going into this year is to teach the freshmen how to get through a college season, because I've been through 3 of them now and my 4th one, and it's not easy to get through an entire season, mentally, physically, it takes a toll on you. So you gotta prepare for it the right way. You gotta train the right way. You gotta do everything the right way if you want to get through it the right way. So I'm going to take a lot of pride in that job because I feel like our freshmen, all 4 have a chance to be special. So, we're going to do everything we can as peers to be able to do that with, also alongside the guidance of the coaches. We plan on, helping them develop quickly so that way they can be ready early on.
I also think though that it's not like we're just going into retool. We're not, because we have the talent, and like we could go back. I've heard that A-Dub said we could go to the NCAA tournament this year. So like it's not like we can retool. Like it's not, we have the talent and we're just building more around it. So it's not like we're going into a rebuild or anything. So I think we definitely have the talent, and I think we're definitely building on that. Do we have any roster spots left?
We got one more roster spot left as far as I know. So I think I think the coaches are still out full force trying to get a guy, and we'll be good.
So I saw that you all, and I was gonna bring this up, you all are playing at Georgia State in November. So how does that work wise because I know it's kind of like a tournament. They said round robin. So how does that work like record wise and all that stuff?
So the NCAA allows you 30 games total in the year if you don't play in an MTE, which is what the Georgia State event is. So it's a round robin tournament. So we're going to play in that. And if you play in one of those, you get an extra game. So we'll get 31 games instead of 30. So that's big for us because obviously we get to see more competition, get to travel a little bit, see Atlanta. It'll be really cool. And, we'll get to play teams that we don't generally get to play. UNC Asheville plays a style that's very similar to ours. They like to press and get up. And so early on, it'll be good to see somebody else press us besides ourselves practice. And then Georgia State was obviously an NCAA tournament team last year. So we'll be really, really excited to get down there and play against them because I think they have some good talent returning there as well. And then Texas A&M Commerce is a brand new Division I school, which will be one of just a few new Division I schools will play this year. So I'm really excited about that. Never heard much about them, obviously, but they were a successful Division II school, so they obviously earned the right to be a Division I school. So I'm excited to be able to, see that crowd of talent and see a new team, new faces. That's really cool.
Speaking of that, I wanted to just learn your opinion on that layover. Obviously, Bellarmine got affected by that. I just wanted to hear your take on that.
So I think it's not fair to the athletes that are winning the games to be penalized like
because
that.
If it's basketball, I mean, if you win basketball, you win basketball.
Right. Like these schools, I understand the rule, the prevention of, Division II players could all just transfer to one school and the best Division players could play Division I. And, I guess that's a valid reason, but you're taking away from the guys that are, really, really good at, Bellarmine earned the right to go to the tournament this year and still didn't get a chance to go to any postseason tournament, which isn't fair to them because they earned it. They beat the teams necessary to do that. They won the championship and sound, if I might add. So I think they deserve the right to go. I think it should be reduced from 4 years to 2 at the max. It could be, even 1 year.
Yeah.
Because I understand that the NCAA just wants to have that rule in place because it makes sense as far as not loading up Division II transfers and then coming over. That makes sense. But I do think it's unfair that they are penalized for that. So I think in special cases there should be exceptions, and I think Bellarmine should have been one. I think the layover needs to be reduced, and that's just my opinion on it.
What do you obviously I've seen 2, and we have another D2 school coming in today, so I think, if I'm not wrong. So obviously Austin P was one of them, and obviously we played with them in the OVC for 2 years, so we have a lot of experience against them. And obviously we've seen they have a lot of good talent because some of them have went to the G League and different things like that. So
right.
So I just wanted to here because obviously it's another school transitioning about that, and obviously both Queens I don't obviously know as much about, but if you know systems that are kind of coming to your league, you kind of already have a game plan against them because you already know how they kind of play.
Well, that's true, but with Austin P, it's a little bit different because Austin P is got a new coach there.
Yeah,
and he was actually an assistant coach at Duke. So it'll be interesting to see what he's actually like and what style he plays. And then Queens is a really successful school out in North Carolina. It'll be interesting to see them. I think it'll be exciting, obviously, to get to see a new place. Been to Clarksville already. I really enjoy
a
lot of fun, but I really want to have a shot to go out to Queens and see, it's in Charlotte, so it's a really good location. And just see a new group of talent, that's really all it's about. It's just
see what they're out. Yeah.
Out there.
One thing I was gonna ask though was obviously AW calls it the portal power. What is your take on that? Because I know it's a newer rule, it's a newer thing. And
right
now, if you asked a coach or a player, I don't know, how many years ago was it? 6 years ago? They didn't have it. So
right.
It's a newer rule. And I just wanted to hear your take on it because obviously there's been positives, there's been negatives. So
right. I think the transfer portal is good because there's just some kids who they'll say they'll fall through the cracks. That's the whole idea behind it, is that they'll go to a program and it won't turn out like they like, and so they can have another shot. I think that that's just the way the world is today. Is everybody is getting a second chance, and that's not bad. Personally, I think it should have already been a thing when it comes to coaching changes, because typically you commit to play to a program because of the coach that recruited you there. It's not always just the program itself. In some cases, it is, but other than that, I think the transfer portal can be a good and bad thing because it ultimately puts more pressure on the coaches to have to re-recruit their players
Mm-hmm.
because players can just up and leave. So I think that can be an added, responsibility and obligation to a coach's job that they wouldn't have necessarily had before.
Because
But
you have,
I think it's good because then coaches are able to also go and pluck,
mm-hmm.
other kids in the portal to replace because it's not just your kids going. There's other kids there as well. But the final thing that I'm going to say is that it can really hurt high school kids and high school recruits because coaches are going to spend a lot more time getting guys who have already developed in a college system and played college ball because they're more college ready than high school kids. So,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the young ones, the freshmen and sophomores aren't going to be seeing as much as attention as they, generally would, at least back when I was younger. So,
Um, one last thing I was gonna ask you was obviously injury bug hit us and different things, and I knew at different times was obviously better than others because at streaks we were going on winning streaks. Sometimes we weren't playing as well. But also I was thinking about kind of how you thought during because I still had I never really I don't think you all did either, but like just keeping that like confidence that you all could go in there because I know when you lose a lot of games you kind of start getting so down on yourself, so just keeping that confidence and things like that.
I think keeping the confidence is definitely big whenever everybody stays healthy because it creates momentum, and people are going to have momentum if they're able to. How do I say this? They're going to be able to have momentum if they're able to play together more often. They're able to play against other teams more often and see, comfort within their teammates. If you have to play with a new team every night, it's not as easy because there's not as much trust built. There's not as much chemistry built. There's not as much, teamwork built. Everything goes into that. And that's why it's so important to not only keep confidence within yourself, but to be able to play with each and every one of your teammates. That's why it's important. I feel like coaches does a really good job at that by letting us, draft our teams in practice, and he switches up teams very often, so that way we all get a feel of playing with each other, and alongside each other. So that way we're able to, mix and match lineups no matter what the case is. Whether I go out, whether Cooper goes out, Tay goes out, we're not going to have a drop off because everybody's played with each other and meshed together. So
And I think that's also something I've seen. Like I'm just guessing, but I think we've probably done over like 30 lineups this past year. I mean, we've mixed a lot of things up. Like obviously the first couple of games of the season, Jansen was out, and then they all got COVID once, so we kind of had to mix and match. And obviously Braxton was out for a little bit at the end of the season, so we just had to figure out different things. But also, I feel like and we got a lot of that this year too. I think just getting those bigger teams experiences that you didn't get this past the year before, and that was also the last thing I was going to bring up is just if and would you get like bigger team, because I knew during COVID you all couldn't really do much out of bigger teams, but obviously this year you went to USC and different things. So just playing those bigger teams, will you all be able to do that this year, or do you not know?
yes, we will. I don't know who yet this year, but I do know we'll have one or two larger games like that. I'm excited. Those are great experiences. I
Just
feel
to
like
see what you got the best, yeah.
exactly, you see where you stack up, but as a kid, you think about playing in all these large arenas and you get to experience it. It's a lot of fun, especially going in there as an underdog where everybody thinks that,
Mm-hmm.
you can't win. So it's really a win-win because one, you get to experience, and two, if you win, you become a great story. So there's really not much negative other than the fact that you could potentially, lose the game, which, stinks, but
Yeah, but you still
not,
get like
you
good.
get, you get experience, you get to learn, from that. You get to see where you stack up and where your team looks to build and looks to, build on. So
Now, obviously, thank you for joining, and hopefully we can. I was thinking about maybe I was gonna come in and kind of, because I knew at some point practices would be open, so I was gonna think I would do some more interviews or some more things about that. So thank you for coming on the show, and see you soon at games.
Thank you, Kaz. It's been great. Thank you for having me on.
Have a good night. Go Colonels.
Go Colonels.